IBS affects 1 in 3 people in Ireland, and for many the impact goes beyond the gut. It can influence your stress levels and confidence in everyday life.
As we mark IBS Awareness Month, broadcaster Maia Dunphy and registered dietitian Aveen Bannon are here to discuss the link between our gut health and mental well-being. Thank you both so much for joining us on the show this morning. Maia, you first started to experience IBS symptoms at quite a young age. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the glamour being the face of irritable bowels. It's what I always dreamed of.
You're making it glamorous.
I know. When I was about 16, I went to my family GP and I had very serious cramps and kind of tummy spasms. And they didn't know what it was. They ruled out things like Crohn's disease, celiac disease. And then she said, look, when we rule these things out, what you have is IBS. And I said, well, how do I get rid of it? And she said, you don't, you learn to manage it. And this was 33, 34 years ago. And she said, in my limited experience of this and knowledge of this, she said, I've never met anyone who has it who isn't also a worrier and suffers with stress. So she was ahead of her time. And I was a stressed teenager. And I'm hopefully less of a stressed adult now, but it was quite debilitating. And as Aveen will probably tell you, there are different subtypes of IBS, and mine was mainly these terrible cramps. And when they came on, I mean, you had to just lie down, almost like a migraine. My face would get quite hot, and I'd lie down for 20, 30 minutes till it passed. But sometimes, I mean, you couldn't... Like, you were literally doubled over in pain, so you couldn't just get on with your day. And that went on for quite a long time, and every time probiotics came out, I'd try the latest one, and nothing worked for me until about 8 or 10 years ago.
OK, 16. So was that around your junior cert? So was it exam stress at that stage, or do you remember?
I really don't remember. I really don't remember. And I wasn't actually as stressed. I was never stressed academically in school. I didn't find exams problematic.
OK.
But I had all the other stresses of being a teen as well.
Brain box.
And absolute brain box. Can't remember my own name at the moment. No, but you know what? Some people are natural worriers. I would be a natural worrier. I see it in my son too. We're both very sensitive people. And I think now we know more about sensitive people and anxiety and how to manage it. But I'm getting better at that.
Aveen, it's not quite rare, though. 1.2 million people in this country suffer some sort of IBS symptoms.
Yeah, so like there's, I mean, about 1 in 3, and it's more common in women than men. So it's probably about 36% of women, about 25% of men. And as Maia says, there's different subtypes of it. So it can impact people. It can be wind, bloating, cramps, discomfort. It can be constipation, diarrhea, or a combination of both. And quite often people just think, oh, that's just the way my gut is. They just kind of get on with it. Like Maia says, they're like, oh, I just have to learn to manage it. But there are things you can do to help kind of support it. And it's interesting you mentioned the probiotics, because about a third of people don't realise the importance of the strain of the probiotic. Like if you're looking for a probiotic, it has to be the specific strain for IBS. So it's seeking support and not being afraid to talk about it.
OK, but that's the thing, not being afraid to talk about it, because there is a taboo and the stigma around it.
I know, and we were talking, if you heard our chat behind the scenes, we covered all sorts, didn't we?
We did,
Aveen actually did one of my documentaries about 12 years ago on food, so we go back, I think you were looking through the Bristol stool chart.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We're looking for the optimum poo.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
Wow. If you're having your breakfast.
I know.
Honestly, bon appetit.
But this is the thing, Martin, that we were saying.
Yeah.
There are some things that all humans, regardless of your age, demographic, gender, have in common, and we all go to the toilet. But we still have this, especially women who are saying sometimes don't want to talk about the fact that we all poo.
And, you know, often people will ask, why is it more common in women than men? And now there is a couple of reasons it may be. It could be to do with hormones. It can be to do with, you know, maybe anxiety, stress. But I also believe part of it is a lot of women are afraid to let wind pass, or they're afraid to go to the bathroom in a public place. So they try and control it more. And the more you're doing that and not letting your body work naturally, whereas men maybe are a little bit freer about discussing it.
Freer?
Men let it rip
They go and get a camera to take a photograph.
I was trying to be polite.
Lovely. Anyway, look, my mind's gone places I didn't think it was going to go now.
But if you are going into your GP or your pharmacy or your pharmacist, they are not going to be embarrassed to talk about your bowel movements. And for me, like I said, I tried every probiotic. Everyone that came out, I would try. But as Aveen said, you have to find the one that suits you. And again, it's not exactly to say that Alpha-Rex was life-changing for me. I started that 8 or 9 years ago, and that one just suited me perfectly. And I haven't had any of those spasms since.
But with a lot of probiotics, so sometimes I know some people say take kimchi and things like that. But I'm wondering if they're an oral form and they go into your stomach, are they not dissolved by the stomach acid?
No, they do work, but if your gut is in a healthy place, like, or, dietary probiotics are great to keep it, sustain it and keep it going.
And you have to have them with food as well, or what would you do?
Well, if it's naturally in food, if you're talking about food substance, just eating it, but if you're taking actual probiotic and you want it specifically, so the 1L-Florix that Maia mentions there has a strain specific for IBS, and you can take it like with your breakfast in the morning, and it's one a day. So you can take it then with it and it will work, but that's like if you're having IBS symptoms. So probiotics in food are something that we encourage people to take on a daily basis, to have, like it could be your yogurt, it can be your kimchi, but I mean yogurt itself can also contain it, and just like fermented foods, like in a part of our daily diet, and then probiotic orally you can take also. But you've got to look at lifestyle factors too, not having long gaps between meals. Looking at, are you like chewing gum a lot with sugar-free kind of gum might have a thing called polyols in it, which can irritate the gut. Your sleep, your stress levels. There's a lot of lifestyle factors to look at as well before we go down any elimination diets. And that's also we have to worry about is people just going on to Google deciding, I have to avoid X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And that might not be the case.
Fasting is a big thing now. I cannot fast. If I fast, it does not suit my tummy. And like you say, Elaine, your stomach is designed to digest food. So a lot of keeping your gut healthy, your stomach healthy is one thing, keeping your gut healthy is slightly different. And something like Alpha-X does reach the gut in peak condition, as other ones would just be digested in your stomach. But there are two separate things, aren't they?
And with stress, because it's such a bi-directional relationship between the gut and the brain.
Yes, they call the gut the second brain.
It's the second brain,
absolutely, and it's like a gut-brain axis thing. So, sometimes it's chicken and egg. It's the gut causing the stress, or the stress causing the gut problem. It's trying to figure that out, and that's why stress management is so important as well.
Like, we are being a little bit flippant today, and it's to try and break these taboos that people have. But it is debilitating, Maia. Did you ever find yourself in a position where you're doing an event or you're planning to go to an event, and all of a sudden you think, I think I'm having an episode here?
Yeah, absolutely. And, as Aveen said, what comes first, like the stress or the gut? But if you feel a pain like that coming on, if I was going to an event where I had to, as you know, Elaine and Martin, MC, get up on a stage, and you feel this crippling pain you cannot stand up straight with, that is terrifying. And a few times I had to leave an event. Luckily, I've never had to leave an event where I was on a stage. In the last few years, it has calmed down a lot. But there were times I have to just quietly leave an event. There was no point in staying. The pain was too severe. And that is very debilitating. And also, it exacerbates the stress then as well. Then you're caught in that vicious circle.
Yeah, and if you think of, because we're talking about the different symptoms you can have, bloating is one that a lot of people will say. So they'll wake up in the morning, they put on their clothes and they're fine. And then by 6 o'clock in the evening, they can barely button their trousers. And they'll feel then self-conscious going out, or they just don't feel very comfortable, and get feelings of fullness and just discomfort. So there's lots of little day-to-day things that people can have.
Some foods exacerbate it, though. I very rarely eat fruit because the sugars would just make it way worse for me. What are the triggers?
There's compounds called FODMAPs, which they're like little fermentable kind of sugars naturally present in fruits and vegetables that can be good for you. But if your gut is upset, or if you've IBS, they can cause symptoms. Like onion would be a classic kind of, windy.
Onion, garlic,
windy, garlic.
That sort of thing.
They're all parts of the same family.
Apples could be another kind of, we call a windy one.
It's so funny. In my teens, you ask what... In my teens, unfortunately, it was the 90s. It wasn't an easy time in women. I was trying to be healthy. I was bringing apples everywhere, and my stomach was like... a basketball. I don't eat much fruit at all. I eat lots of vegetables.
But there are lots of fruits that you can have that are okay. Like there's berries are fine, and melon, and the kind of
bananas I can eat.
Bananas would be fine. There's ones you can. But sometimes if someone's having the subtype what we call IBSD, so the diarrhea, we might limit fruit to about 2 a day. But if they're having constipation, we want to get the fruit and veg in there, so you're trying to get the ones that won't aggravate symptoms.
Because it is a syndrome. There's so many different symptoms of it. It's not one size fits all.
Yeah. And sometimes, Martin, being flippant can also be really helpful, because it does open the conversation. And like I said, there's no doctor in the world who's going to be embarrassed or roll their eyes if you go in talking about...
Or dietitian, because we love talking about it.
These are the people to go and see.
OK.
The nature of the job.
Anybody watching us this morning with any of these symptoms, what's your advice to them?
Make an appointment with Aveen. Go and see a dietitian,
go to your GP, you want to rule out things like celiac, things like that. Talk about it, get some support, get some help, go to see a dietitian, make sure it's a registered dietitian. And often it just can be 1 or 2 appointments just to help you know, that it's okay. And it could be even just trying the right probiotic initially, looking at lifestyle factors.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning, Maia and Aveen.
Thank you.
Now, coming up, we're back in the kitchen where things are getting seriously zesty with lemon chicken pittas.
Back after this.